Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into a dinosaur that's maybe not on everyone's radar. Abdarainurus.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one, though. Our main goal here is basically to pull together what's known, mostly looking at, well, the scientific papers via its Wikipedia summary.
Right.
It's kind of like being a detective with only a few clues, a paleo detective.
I like that. A paleo detective. It really is a bit of a mystery, isn't it? Working out what this creature was like from, well, not very much.
Exactly. So let's introduce our subject properly. Abdarainurus.
Okay.
The name itself gives us a starting point. Abdrant Nuru tail.
Ah, so named after the place.
Precisely. Abdrant Nuru in Mongolia, and we're talking late Cretaceous period here.
Late Cretaceous. Got it. And the discovery itself, that wasn't super recent either, was it?
No, not at all. It goes back to 1970, a joint Soviet-Mongolian paleontological expedition.
Wow, 1970.
Yeah, a guy named VP Twardoklobov actually dug up the fossils, but then, well, things stalled.
Stalled how?
The bones were just left unprepared. For decades, maybe until around the year 2000.
Decades. Seriously.
Seriously. It took Andrei Paltsno, another paleontologist, to look at them and think, hang on, this might be something new, a new sauropod.
So he spotted the potential.
Yeah.
But even then,
It took until February 2020 for the official name, Abdarainurus barsboldi, to be published by Avarianov and Lopatin.
20, that's 50 years after discovery.
It really shows you how science can work sometimes. Things get rediscovered, reevaluated. Patience is key.
Talk about a paleontological cold case and the actual evidence, the holotype specimen. You said it wasn't much.
That's right. PIN 56691. It's 8 vertebrae from the front part of the tail,
Okay.
1 from the middle of the tail, and a few chevrons.
Chevrons, those little bones under the tail vertebrae, right?
Exactly. So yeah, not a whole lot to go on, and that's crucial to remember as we try to figure out, where it fits.
Definitely. Just a few tail bones to reconstruct a giant dinosaur in its family tree. That sounds challenging.
It absolutely is. But let's place it broadly first, classification-wise.
Okay, where does it sit in the grand scheme?
Well, we start big,
Yeah.
Eukaryota, Animalia chordata, then Dinosauria.
Right.
Within dinosaurs, it's a saurischian, one of the lizard-hipped ones, then Sauropodomorpha, the long-necked plant eaters,
The real titans of the Mesozoic.
then Sauropoda, the iconic giants, then Macronaria, which is a group known for big nasal openings.
Okay.
And then we get to Titanosauria. So Abdarainurus is a titanosaur, or at least that's where it seems to land, though its exact spot within Titanosauria is still debated. That's the detective work.
A titanosaur. Wow. So can we picture where it lived? What was its world like?
The fossils came from the Alagteig Formation in Mongolia.
Lactite formation?
Yeah, and interestingly, there might be a connection to the Jadokta Formation.
Oh, the Jadokta. That's famous, right? Lots of amazing fossils, Velociraptor, Protoceratops.
Exactly. The fighting dinosaurs came from there. So it hints at maybe a similar kind of environment? Maybe?
Okay, so who else was around? Did it have neighbors?
We know it lived alongside the Ankylosaur Pinocosaurus, the armored dinosaur.
Yeah, Pinocosaur.
And there were also turtles, plus some other dinosaurs that we haven't identified down to the genus or species level yet. Just indeterminate remains.
So a functioning ecosystem, definitely. Okay, we got the basics down. Who, what, when, where.
Yeah.
Kinda. Now the tricky part, the family tree. Where does it fit? This is the real sleuth thing, I guess.
This is absolutely where the detective work ramps up. So Avarianov and Lopatin, when they named it in 2020, they ran analyses.
Right.
And depending on how they weighted the different anatomical features, they got slightly different results.
How so?
Well, first, if they treated all the features equally, Abdarainurus came out as part of Sophosponduli. That's a bigger group containing titanosaurs, but not necessarily as a titanosaur itself. It was in something called a large polytomy.
A polytomy. Okay, refresh my memory. That's when the branches on the family tree all sort of split off from one point.
Exactly. It means the relationships right there are unresolved.
Yeah.
You can't be sure which branch split off first. It signals uncertainty.
So maybe rapid evolution or
Just
not enough data points from those few bones.
could be either or both. But then they tried tweaking the analysis. They gave less importance to features they thought might be more variable or labile.
Okay.
And then the picture changed. Abdarainurus resolved as a basal titanosaur,
Basal meaning.
meaning near the base, or the early part, of the Titanosauria family tree. It grouped with other early ones like Andosaurus and Huabosaurus.
Ah, okay. So changing the analysis method shifted its position. That's fascinating.
It really is. And Averyanov and Lopatian actually preferred the second result, the basal titanosaur one. They felt it was the most parsimonious, the simplest explanation, needing the fewest unique evolutionary steps just for Abdarainurus.
So their best guess was early Titanosaur.
Yeah. Their preferred cladogram, the tree diagram, showed it branching off with Andosaurus and Huabosaurus, kind of at the start of that whole masked titanosaur radiation.
It's like finding an old family photo and trying to figure out which great-great-uncle this fuzzy figure is.
That's a good analogy. And the story doesn't quite end there. Science keeps moving.
Oh, more clues have turned up.
Sort of. New analyses based on other discoveries. A 2024 study on a different new titanosaur called Gandistatin shed more light.
Gandatitan, okay.
The researchers, Hahn and colleagues, found that Gandistitan seems to be the closest relative to Abdarainurus, a sister taxon.
Sister taxon, meaning they're like evolutionary siblings, branching off together.
Exactly. Each other's closest known relative in that analysis. And their study also supported Abdarainurus and Gandistitan being part of that same broader group of early titanosaurs, along with Endosaurus, Wabisaurus, Baeotianensaurus, and Domyangosaurus.
So there's some consistency emerging then. Different studies, slightly different trees, but pointing generally to that early titanosaur zone.
Pretty much. The exact branching order might differ slightly between studies, which is normal, but the overall placement seems to be converging around that basal titanosaur area.
It's amazing what they can tease out from just, tailbones. It's like forensic paleontology.
Absolutely. And what does it all mean? Why does this placement matter?
Yeah, what's the significance?
Well, think about it. We have this dinosaur, known from very little, found in Asia, and potentially representing one of these early branches of the giant titanosaurs.
Okay.
It might mean that Abdarainurus represents a whole lineage of Asian macronarians, these advanced sauropods that we previously didn't know much or anything about.
So it could be a clue to a whole hidden branch of dinosaur evolution in Asia.
It could be. Despite the limited fossils, it highlights potentially hidden diversity. It shows how even scraps of bone can open up new questions and possibilities about the past.
It really drives home how much we still don't know.
Precisely. And it also shows how paleontology works, doesn't it? New finds like Gandistitan pop up, and they force us to reevaluate what we thought we knew about dinosaurs like Abdarainurus. The picture is always being refined.
It's never really finished.
Never. It's a constant process of discovery, analysis, and revision.
Okay, so let's quickly recap this deep dive. Abdarainurus, Late Cretaceous Titanosaur from Mongolia.
Known only from a handful of tail vertebrae and chevrons.
Its exact spot on the family tree is still a bit fuzzy, but evidence points towards it being an early or basal titanosaur.
Possibly representing a previously unknown group of Asian sauropods, which is pretty exciting, even from just a tail.
Definitely. Which brings us to a final thought for you, the listener. Given how little we actually have of Abdarainurus, just imagine what else might be waiting in the Alagteig Formation, or similar places across Asia.
Yeah, what other giant dinosaurs, what other unique lineages are still buried? And how could the next fossil find, maybe even another small fragment, completely change how we see Abdarainurus and its relatives?
It makes you realize the story of dinosaur evolution is far from fully written. There are likely many more chapters waiting to be discovered under the ground.